Roll call, please.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Vice Chairman Hewitt.
Here?
Oh, reverse.
Just, yeah, okay.
Chairman Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Say,
Here.
Commissioner Romero,
Here.
Commissioner Sterling,
Here.
Commissioner Carell is absent tonight.
This time, any member of the public is allowed to come up and speak to any item that's not on the agenda tonight. You have 3 minutes, I believe, and no action will be taken. Anyone like to come up and? First item is,
Consent calendar?
oh, sorry, I forgot about the consent calendar. I apologize. Consent calendar, which means we have to approve the minutes from November 17th. So can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Call for a vote.
We have all ayes, Scott.
Now, first,
Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. Item number 2 is a transient rental license in which the applicant, Thomas Cordova, is requesting continuation of the public hearing for PC 2899, 204 Descanso Avenue to January 21st, 2025, regular meeting to allow for an additional time to prepare for the Planning Commission meeting.
okay, so we're going to open up the public hearing, and if anyone would like to speak, you can speak now, but it will be continued till next meeting. Anyone want to speak on 204? No? Okay, can I get a motion to continue, please?
I'll make a motion to continue this item to January 21st, 2025.
I'll second that.
Call for a vote.
All ayes again, Scott.
Second.
Item number 3 is a public hearing considering a transient rental license and coastal development permit to allow the renting or leasing of a room or rooms for a period of less than 30 days duration at 308 Descanso Avenue, upper unit. The property is located in the medium residential high density zoning district in the area predominantly known as the Flats. The property consists of a 2-story duplex with one unit on the first floor, 308 Descanso Avenue, and 1 unit on the second floor, 308 Descanso Avenue, upper. The first floor unit is a full-time owner-occupied unit and consists of 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a den, a kitchen, and a living area, and totals approximately 820 square feet. The second unit, 308 Descanso Avenue, upper, is a unit which is applying for the TRL, transient rental license, and consists of 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen, and a living area, totaling approximately 275 square feet. The upper unit has a separate entrance with an outdoor staircase to the access door and is proposed to be rented as a single rental. Based on the number of bedrooms in the unit, 1, the standard conditions of approval, the maximum occupancy would be 4 individuals. Staff has not identified any issue items related to the proposed transient rental license application. The proposed location has 1 adjacent property who has a transient rental license, which is adjacent to the rear, address 309 Clarissa Avenue, and that is under PC 1511. Additional adjacent properties do not have authority to rent transiently. Attachment 2, the vicinity map, shows the nearby properties which have TRLs. Additionally, the applicant is present to answer any questions you may have. And otherwise, staff recommends approval to the project subject to the draft resolution, and the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act per section 15301. That concludes my presentation.
Questions?
When I read this, it seemed like they want to rent the little upstairs unit that they remodeled, but they're currently living downstairs?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes,
And they're going to continue to do that?
correct.
Staff?
Were they looking for another permit for a vehicle? So they already have off-street parking? Another.
Under standards of basic standards of conditions of approval. They're not allowed to have a vehicle or a golf cart, and that's not allowed to be included as part of the rental if they did.
It doesn't say anything about asking for.
No, it does not. They didn't request it.
Any more questions for staff? No? I'm going to open up the public hearing. Does anyone here like to come and speak on this? Come on. State your name and address, please.
My name is Starla Broyles, and the address is 308 Descanso. I currently live downstairs, and we're, oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Short. Currently live downstairs full-time, and we've owned the property almost 3 years now, looking to rent the upstairs, either whether it be summer rentals or even local. We're not looking for a golf cart. I currently have a permit for that. Did you have any other questions?
Questions? Thanks, Starla.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak on this property? No? Close the hearing. Any more discussion or motions?
A motion to approve?
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, call for a vote.
We have all ayes, Scott.
Okay, item number 4.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 4 this evening is a public hearing to consider a transient rental license and a coastal development permit to allow renting and leasing of a room for a period of fewer than 30 consecutive days at 56 Gaviota. This property is located in the Hamilton Cove condominium development. It is a single-family home, but is actually located closer to the water within the condo area of Hamilton Cove. The applicant, Anita Peterson, is proposing to short-term rent the 4-bedroom, 4.5-bathroom, single-family home. It is a 3-story home with interior living space and an unenclosed deck. The entire residence would be rented as a single rental. Based on the maximum occupancy conditions of approval, there would be a maximum of 10 individuals that would be allowed in the unit based on bedroom count. Staff has not identified any issue items related to this project. The property is located within the condominium area of Hamilton Cove, but the unenclosed decks and primary living areas are not directly facing any of the surrounding condominium buildings. They're all facing out towards the water. It is the opinion of staff that the existing regulations and standard conditions would adequately address any potential nuisance concerns related to the property. Regarding surrounding properties, it is directly adjacent to 3 of the condominium buildings in Hamilton Cove. Each of those buildings, which are buildings number 11, 13, and 18, have a majority of the units within those buildings, so more than 50%, licensed for transient rentals. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of the project and that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number PC25-63, and that the project would be exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to 15301, Class 1 existing facilities. The applicant is present this evening if you have any questions. Thank you.
Staff? No? Okay, open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to talk on this property? Please come up and state your name and address, please.
I'm Anita Peterson, an owner of the property of 56 Gaviota. It's my happy place. I love Catalina. I love everything that you guys do, and we will be really good neighbors, and we just appreciate everything you do for us. So I've never done this before, but thank you so much.
Property? Close the public hearing. Any questions or comments or motions for this property?
Make a motion to approve?
Can you give a second?
Second?
Call for a vote?
We have all eyes again, Scott.
I need to recuse myself for the next due to proximity.
I don't need that part. I'll use the desk. Okay, staff.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Item number 5 this evening is a public hearing to consider your transient rental license and a coastal development permit to allow renting or leasing of a room or rooms for a period of 30 consecutive days or less at 131 Hill Street, Unit B. This property is located up in kind of what's generally known as the Hills area, west of the flats in town. It is located between Hill Street and Chimes Tower Road. It is a 2-unit residential property, so there is a primary main residence, and attached by a walkway is a separate building on the property that includes a garage apartment, which is the unit that's proposed to be short-term rented, and a shop area on the lower level of that building. The applicant, Ellen Bryant, is proposing, again, to short-term rent a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment unit. That unit is approximately 484 square feet in size and is located on the second floor of that accessory building. There is an unenclosed balcony accessible from the living room of the unit. The entire unit would be rented as part of the transient rental. The maximum occupancy of that unit would be 4 individuals based on the bedroom count. And the applicant is proposing to provide a golf cart for the use of the transient rental, which would be parked within the garage. They have a 2-car garage on the property, so they do have adequate space for off-street for the golf cart. Staff has not identified any issue items related to this proposed project. There are no directly adjacent properties that are already being used for transient rental. So there is no issue with proximity to or saturation related to vicinity. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of the proposed project, adoption of resolution number PC25-64, and that the project could be considered exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to section 15301 existing facilities. Is the applicant here this evening? There she is, for any questions that you may have. Thank you very much.
Anyone have questions for staff?
So the golf cart they're providing, is that the one for like the entire unit, or are they asking, is there another vehicle? So it'd be 2 vehicles or 1 vehicle?
I would defer to the applicant for clarification on that, and she can do that when she comes up for the public hearing.
Like her personal vehicle that when she's there, or is there another vehicle?
It's my permanent residence. I have, what I've done when Art Good comes for the whole month of October is I let him have the golf cart, but I don't know how it works. Would I have to apply for another?
I was just curious about you saying there was a golf cart available, so I didn't know if it's your.
Yeah, it's my primary golf cart.
Okay, so you're giving up your vehicle for
someone, but I was wondering, can I apply for a second for the transient unit?
We can talk through that after the meeting if you'd like to go through it.
Okay.
Because you have the applicant has an off-street parking space, they would not be subject to the same like residency requirements for a golf cart as if it had to be parked on the street. And this is the unit that's proposed to be rented is a unit of record. So potentially they could get a golf cart, but we would need to go through vehicles.
And my main
eligibility.
interest for having the permit is I've been a wedding officiant for the last few years, and I would love to be able to offer it to, couples for their anniversary or so forth. So.
I was curious about, like, if you live there and then it's like you have to give up your, and you're on a hill, it's kind of awkward, That takes away, living on Hill Streets, if you want to go
Yeah.
grocery shopping, you got somebody staying for a week. Like,
Right,
inconvenience
so
to you
that's-
as well, too.
Right. I could also be like Zane Grey and just give him a ride down.
No, just.
I haven't firmed that up. The question, when she asked the question, I said, yeah, that would be great, but I didn't know how to.
One step at a time. Okay.
Does the property have a property manager, or will that be you?
I'm full-time, I'm like a hermit on the hill. I hardly ever leave the island.
Okay.
So if the applicant wants to act as their property manager, they will have to get a business license. As a condition of approval, one of the things they have to do when they go to apply for the transient rental business license is they will also have to have one as a manager.
Is that a separate license on top of what they already have for the rental?
It is a separate license.
So they have to get two separate licenses, even though it's the same person?
I think that was what we just.
Are you talking about the property manager having
Yeah,
their
so
own
if she's
separate-
the owner and property manager, is it two separate licenses?
She will just be under the one as far as the
Okay.
business license for the property, yeah. Again, that's not for tonight, but you'll cross that
I'm
bridge.
just trying to, I don't know, we're all going.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone want to speak on behalf of this application? Lynn, you already came up, so anyone want to oppose this application? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Discussion or motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second? Second. Call for a vote, please.
Chair Smith has abstained, Scott, and we have 5 ayes.
I'll go get her. She can have her ballot.
Don't hit her with it. Don't hit her with it.
Time of the day.
Okay, number 6.
Thank you, Chair. So item number 6 this evening is a public hearing for consideration of a resolution recommending approval of the 2026 annual growth policy to the City Council as required by Avalon Municipal Code Section 9-12.102. So as it is stated, that section of the municipal code stipulates that the City Council, in conjunction with the Planning Commission, should review the growth permitted in the preceding 10 months every year, so January to October, review the effects and demands of that development and any additional development upon the city's natural resources, and determine by resolution the amount and type of growth that will be permitted in the upcoming year. So as part of the staff report, we have provided attachment 1. Includes a summary of all the projects that have been approved January through October this year, which is about 15 new projects. Most of those are either transient rental licenses, renovations of existing properties, or demo and rebuild of existing properties. As you know, while SCE is currently not in any stage of water rationing, there have not been any new freshwater allocations issued about in the past 2 years or so, because according to Edison, they've essentially reached capacity with the existing fresh water available. At this time, there are no new allocations being issued. SCE is essentially told the city that they are working currently on the expansion to the existing desalination facilities out at Pebbly Beach, which would include like a new well and additional capacity to create more fresh water. That project is estimated earliest completion would be the end of next year, so the end of 2026, after which they would do a complete water availability assessment to determine what new allocations they can issue. Allocation of new water would first come off the existing wait list. So there is a wait list which was also provided as an attachment to the staff report, so you can see currently who is on the wait list for new water. My understanding is that those are generally filled in the order that they're received, and does include a number of commercial and residential projects that are waiting for water. So the recommendations that staff is providing as part of the resolution this evening is essentially a continuation of the same policies that we've been operating under this year. No project can be permitted by city policy unless they have secured a water allocation from Edison, in writing from Edison.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part?
Oh, so new projects can be permitted by the city without issuance, a written confirmation of a water allocation from Edison. So that includes residential projects, commercial projects, even accessory dwelling units, which are generally streamlined under state law, cannot be permitted if they're not going to actually have water service to service the unit. So, with all of that said, staff is recommending approval of resolution number 2560, recommending adoption of the 2026 annual growth policy, and that this action is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to 15061B3 as a general policy that would have no effect on the environment. I'm available for any questions you guys might have. Thank you.
Do you happen to know at what stage in our water rationing and at what point do they start releasing water?
So currently, Edison, we are not in any stage of water rationing.
Yes, but I mean
currently.
like a stage, not like water stage, but stage as in what they determine is when they start
Sure. So
looking into that.
Our understanding from their office is they would essentially like to complete the phase that they have permitted for the desalination expansion, after which they could do a capacity study to determine, how much new water is being generated as part of that, like how many additional acre feet are they going to generate a year with that expansion. And then based on that, they can determine how many projects can get allocations that are on the wait list. So really, they are using completion of phase 1 of phase 2 of the desalination expansion as their benchmark.
Do you happen to know, and maybe I missed it, when was the last time that they released water?
So I know there was some in 2022 because I started, I think, April of 2022, and they did issue a handful of letters at that time.
And I remember, because I just don't remember the date, but I do remember it took forever for them to, it seemed like it took, after we got out of the rationing and how their formula works, but it just seemed like it took forever.
Yeah, and I do know that they have also been actively going through the list of issued allocations that have not been acted on and starting to either, get people to either apply for an extension or if somebody is not eligible for an extension to expire those to hopefully free up that on paper for people as they can. But I don't have an idea specifically of how many allocations that are being sat on or out there right now.
On this list, I counted 32 of people that are waiting.
Yes.
So are we looking at early 2027 for a possibility?
At the earliest.
Did you say 27 or?
Yeah, because
They said I could release till the end of next year.
26, so you figure give or take
They're
a few
hoping they
months.
can complete construction maybe by the end of next year, after which,
We're looking a year. We met with them today, so it was roughly a year, I think they said, at the earliest that they could have the plant.
And is their number worst case scenario, we go into the worst, like we did a couple years ago, we're not going to give any more, that's
that's
is
where
that what
kind
it's
of where we're
based
at
on?
right now, is that they feel like they're at capacity.
Yeah, so that's why they're not
gonna-
giving any new ones?
Correct.
Okay. But when they do their numbers, they take in the numbers of the people that haven't used the water.
So that is
So,
part of that calculation, which is why they, again, as people are maybe sitting on allocations on paper, they're trying to go through, expire those, find out if those people are still actually serious about moving forward with a project that might free up some capacity.
We know a percentage of how much of our water is waiting on somebody to do something, or?
I don't have that number.
Okay.
Desalinization expansion, does it include storage?
That's what they're doing right now, I
The
think.
phase 2 includes storage, yes.
Yes.
I have to open up a public hearing for this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to come and speak on growth plan? No? Okay. Close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved?
In a second?
I'll second.
Call for a vote?
We have all ayes, Scott?
Okay, item number 7.
Yes, thank you. So our final item this evening is a public hearing for consideration of a conditional use permit, variance, site plan, and coastal development permit for a new hotel at 305 Beacon Street. The subject property is located near the intersection of Beacon Street and Metropole Avenue, and is directly adjacent to 301 Beacon Street, which last year received entitlement for a new 4-story hotel building. The project site is currently developed with a single-family residence, 3 bedrooms, that was built no later than 1953, but probably dates earlier than that, and has been vacant for almost 20 years. There are no known entitlement history for this project. It's been a single-family residence since it was constructed, and it was constructed as a single-family residence prior to the implementation of the special commercial zone. All abutting properties to this site are in the special commercial zone, which represent a mix of commercial, institutional, and residential uses. Surrounding uses include the Avalon Community Church, the Beacon Hill Senior Apartments, and the Cameron Hotel site, the Hotel St. Lauren, and then to the south, a number of multifamily residential buildings. The applicant, Christopher Hill Development, is proposing to demolish the existing single-family residence and construct a new 2-story hotel with employee housing. The building would include 9 standard hotel rooms and 1 employee housing studio unit, and would have a rooftop deck with an elevator, bathroom, and a pool. Hotel rooms would be offered for rent on a daily basis, and the rooftop pool area is proposed to be open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, and would only be accessible to adult guests of the hotel 18 years or older. The applicant is not proposing any kind of alcohol service at this time, and if they wanted something like that, they would have to come back in the future for a separate conditional use permit for that use. The operations plan, including the site plan, are included as attachments 3 or 4 of the report. Renderings of the proposed building elevations, which include the 301 Beacon Street project, are included as attachment 5 of the staff report. The applicant is proposing that the project would operate with shared operations with 301 Beacon Street, so the Cameron Hotel property. Because both properties are on separate parcels and they are owned by separate entities, the applicant has designed the project to essentially stand alone in terms of building code on each property. But they would share operations in terms of like the check-in, the housekeeping, and all of the standard services would be shared between both buildings. In addition, the buildings would have as part of this project, an emergency access staircase would be built on the roof of this building that would access the rooftop of 301 Beacon Street for as an emergency egress from that rooftop. The applicant is proposing that the shared operations would allow for kind of efficient management of both properties and the allowing of those shared resources, including the gym facilities, laundry facilities, and the rooftop lounge on the 301 project would be accessible to guests of 305. Because this project is proposed to be a phased construction and occupancy that has been designed around the applicant receiving a water allotment credit for the 3 bedrooms that are inherent in the existing building on the property. So the applicant, as part of phase 1, is proposing that there would be demolition of the existing single-family residence, final grading and installation of utilities. The building of the hotel infrastructure, including the exterior and facade, and installation of the elevator would happen as part of phase 1, and occupancy of 3 hotel rooms on the first floor. So the rest of the building would be interior finished to rough, but would not be allowed to be fully finished out for the occupancy of the remaining 6 hotel rooms or the employee unit until an additional water allocation is received from Edison for phase 2. In addition to, just to backtrack real quick, to allow access to the rear of the property where the proposed trash enclosure and auto wet parking space are located, the applicant is proposing to put in place a 10-foot wide shared access easement across the rear of the 301 Beacon Street property to Metropole to allow access to the back of 305. Since the proposed project would have 0 lot lines on both sides, it would be the only way to access that rear area. And staff is, just to get ahead, would recommend as a condition of approval that that easement would have to be in place prior to the issuance of any permits for the construction of this project, since this project does not work without that easement, and that the city would be party to that easement, so it could not be removed in the future without the agreement of the city that it is no longer necessary. The proposed project has to comply with all of the development standards for the special commercial zone. The property is requesting a variance from 3 different development standards. One would be lot coverage. They're requesting 93% lot coverage where 80% is generally allowed. They're asking for a variance from floor area. They would like 166% gross lot area where 140% is allowed. And they're requesting a height variance. The proposed building would be 18 to 30 feet to the top of the parapet above grade, with an additional 10 feet in height for the rooftop bathroom enclosure, 12 feet to the top of the elevator tower, and 16 feet to the maximum height of that roof staircase that would go to the roof of 301 Beacon Street. In addition to the standards of the special commercial zone, the project is required to meet the minimum hotel room size and hotel bathroom size requirements of the municipal code, and all rooms proposed do meet the minimum size requirement for a minimum of 190 square foot room and a 35 square foot bathroom. As I mentioned, there are 5 issue items that the staff has provided some information for in the staff report. One was the requested variances. Per the municipal code, variances may be permitted by the Planning Commission where special circumstances might deprive a property of privileges enjoyed by other properties in the vicinity under identical zoning classification. That property is not granted special privileges belong those available to similar properties and does not permit a use that is otherwise not allowed by the Avalon Local Coastal Program. Similarly to the 301 Beacon Street property, staff took a look at other hotel properties located within the special commercial zone to see what they had previously been approved for in terms of development. Because this property is subject to a standard height requirement that does not take into account slope, it would be difficult for a property to be developed to its full and highest development potential without taking into consideration the sloped nature of the lot and how limiting it could be to be 28 feet from any particular spot. The municipal code definition for building height is the vertical distance from lot natural grade, which is also very difficult to apply to a number of properties within the city where previous grading may have happened. Because of that stringent height requirement and the fact that most properties within the special commercial zone are flat, it's the opinion of staff that, a sloped lot in the special commercial zone would, a strict application of the height requirements would mean that the actual buildable area on a lot for a sloped lot in this zone would be substantially less than a flat lot, which would deprive a property of the same development potential as a flat lot in the same zone. Similar variances have been previously granted for the Hotel St. Laurent, Casa Marquita, and to the Cameron Hotel. related to building height, floor area, and lot coverage. Therefore, it's the opinion of staff that the proposed variances could be granted in conformance with the findings in the municipal code, as there are special circumstances related to this lot. It's topography that would otherwise deprive the property of the development potential of other flat lots within the zone. The variances would not constitute granting of special privileges, as similar variances have been granted to similarly sloped lots within the zone previously. Issue item number 2 is the operational coordination proposed between this project and 301 Beacon Street. As I previously mentioned, they are proposing that a 10-foot wide access easement would be acquired from the 301 Beacon Street property to allow access to the rear of 305. Both 301 and 305 Beacon Street are controlled by members of the same family, and the applicant has already established long-term leases for operation for 301 and 305 Beacon Street. Therefore, it's the opinion of staff that it's feasible for the applicant to obtain this easement, and that, again, condition number 4 of the draft resolution would require that that easement be recorded and on record prior to the issuance of any permits for the proposed project. Issue item number 3 is related to employee housing. Section 911-104D of the municipal code requires that new commercial development has to provide rental housing for at least 50% of its peak season employees. The applicant is estimating that 1 full-time employee would be required to be employed by the business at the completion of both phases of the project to meet the operational needs of the business. The project is proposing to provide 1 employee housing unit on the site. Keeping in mind that because they are proposing to combine shared operations with 301 Beacon Street, ultimately there would be approximately 5 full-time employees that would be operating the combined project. And between both projects, they're proposing 4 full-time housing units on site for employees. Therefore, the project is meeting the minimum requirements of the municipal code to provide employee housing. The city does have the ability to audit housing requirements for a business after a first year of operation. So if it is found that they need more employees, peak season employees to operate than previously reported, housing requirements can be adjusted accordingly. Per the municipal code, the applicant is proposing to provide employee housing on site, but that's not strictly required in the municipal code. The housing could be provided elsewhere as well. So if there's a need to adjust employee housing requirements in the future, the fact that they don't have it on site is not an impediment to making that happen. Issue item number 4 is the rooftop deck. As previously mentioned, the rooftop deck on this building is proposed to be opened between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. daily, would have a bathroom building for guests and a swimming pool. The applicant is not specifically requesting this, but any special event that would be held at the hotel in the future would already be subject to the city's special event permit requirements in the municipal code, which special event permits are only approved as needed by the city manager. The rooftop deck does have potential to create noise nuisance for surrounding properties as it is open. The property is located within Noise District 3, which prohibits the operation of generation of amplified sound that is audible past the property line. And that's during any time of day, not during specific business hours. The applicant is without approval of a special use permit to allow amplified sound. The applicant is not requesting that at this time. So if they wanted it, they would have to come back to the Planning Commission in the future for it. It is the opinion of staff that the limited hours of operation, the restriction to the fact there are only adult guests, and that they would have to get a special event permit for events, and they are not requesting any special use permit for amplified sound, means that the proposed roof deck is compatible with the intent of the special commercial zone, which is a mixed-use zone for residential and commercial uses, and should not cause any undue noise nuisance. The roof deck is surrounded by a glass railing on top of the parapet wall. Any mechanical equipment on the roof will also be enclosed with buildings. And as part of the California Environmental Quality Act documentation for the project, which is in attachment 7 of the report, the applicant did have a noise study prepared to not only analyze the potential noise of the occupied roof deck for this project, they also did a combined cumulative noise analysis with the potential use at 301 Beacon Street as well. So if both of them were occupied at the same time, what would that noise look like? Based on that report, there would be no greater, the change in noise level would not be more than 3 decibels during like peak operational hours based on, it would be no more than 3 decibels over the existing ambient noise levels. And the maximum combined noise level, which I think was no more than 64 decibels, which would be across the street at the church, is still well below the acceptable noise range that's been outlined in the city's general plan. So even with the additional noise estimated for the project and the combined noise with the property next door, they're still below the general plan limits for maximum noise. Issue number 5 is parking. I'll say that this briefly. So the applicant is proposing to provide a commercial autoet parking space at the rear of the building that would be accessible from Metropole via the proposed shared access easement. They are not proposing any additional on-street like loading zones or drop-off zones. The 304 or 301 Beacon Street site already has a proposed 3-minute loading zone that was approved as part of the previous project, and they would utilize the same loading zone for this building, since both buildings would be operating using the same lobby. The employee housing unit could qualify for a residential autoet permit subject to residency requirements. So they would not be able to just get the standard residential autoet because they don't have an off-street parking space. But if someone was living in the unit, I think it's more than 9 months out of the year, they could still get an autoet permit for the unit. It is the opinion of staff that proposed parking plan can be found sufficient for the proposed hotel operation. The primary use of the property is transitory housing. Guests are anticipated to be dropped off and will not have their own vehicles. And the applicant is already subject to conditions of approval from the previous project that would be reiterated as part of this one, that any right-of-way improvements that are required to upgrade crosswalks, sidewalks, et cetera, to serve the project will be at the applicant's expense and subject to review and approval by the Public Works Department for those right-of-way improvements. So a full breakdown related to all of the findings for approval for all of the entitlements are available in the draft resolution. The project is to be granted a water allocation for 3 units, again, based on the 3 bedrooms of the existing single-family residence, and has been placed on the wait list, or will be placed on the wait list for the additional water that's needed for the build-out of phase 2 of the project. Therefore, with that confirmation from Edison, the project does comply with the 2025 annual growth policy, and furthermore, condition 25 of the resolution just reiterates that no permits related to phase 2 can be issued until the additional allocation has been confirmed by Edison. The proposed project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act per 15332, which is the Class 32 infill development. There's 5 main criteria in order to qualify for that exemption. 1, the project is consistent with a general plan and zoning. The use is allowed via conditional use permit in the special commercial zone, and the property is also designated as special commercial as land use in the general plan. The site is less than 5 acres. It's actually less than 2,500 square feet. There is no biological habitat value of the property. It's already fully developed. There is no native vegetation or trees or any other kind of special habitat that would be of any value that needs to be analyzed or preserved. There are no significant traffic, noise, air quality, or water quality effects. As previously mentioned, the applicant has already prepared a full exemption evaluation, which is included as attachment 7. Specific technical studies related to noise, as previously mentioned, traffic impacts, air quality, and water quality were all provided as part of that report. And the project will not generate a significant number of new vehicle trips, increase ambient noise levels beyond more than 3 decibels, generate construction or operational related emissions beyond the thresholds that have been adopted by the South Coast Air Quality Management District, and a non-priority water quality management plan will be prepared to ensure, as part of the grading permit, to ensure that there is no runoff from the property once it's constructed that would negatively impact the city's stormwater or sanitation system. The project is also has access to all required utilities, including sewer, water, energy. Access are all available to the project site. All public services, including police, fire, protection, are also adequate, and no expansion is required to serve the proposed project. All of that said, staff did receive, this project was, as previously mentioned, continued from the November Planning Commission meeting to tonight in order to give the applicant more time to specifically to address questions from Southern California Edison regarding their water allocation. And prior to the meeting this evening, staff received one public comment letter, which I believe everyone did receive by email from the, and that has been provided as part of the record this evening. All of that said, staff is recommending adoption of resolution number 25-61 to approve the conditional use permit, variant site plan, and coastal development permit, and that the project would be exempt from CEQA pursuant to Class 32 infill development projects. The applicant is here this evening to answer any questions that you might have, and I stand ready to answer any as well. Thank you.
Any questions for staff?
By any chance, will this property be tented to avoid lead and asbestos from affecting the?
So I will, the applicant can elaborate if I miss anything, but as with the previous project, they will have to comply with all hazardous materials abatement requirements, which could include, it could include that, but if there is lead, asbestos, other hazardous materials, they will have to be abated per California standards, and that work has to be completed by a licensed specialist who does that abatement work.
You know, he may have to answer this, but do you know why? So the height requirement or the height variance, 18 to 30 feet, that seems like such a large range. And then in one of his comments in the back, it says the property is 95% flat.
So the reason I have described it that way based on the variance requirements is because the property is sloped and some portions of the building are higher than others off of the existing grade. So attachment 6 kind of has that building height diagram. Unfortunately, it's a little difficult to see the line that was drawn on that shows the grade of the lot that was measured off of. And the reason it's a range is because the lot is sloped, rather than taking a measurement just at one particular location, I took, the range is based off essentially taking the lowest and highest measurements from all 4 corners of the building to give you the full, so the 30 feet is really, you're talking about that at like the front property line along Beacon Street, because that's the lowest point of the lot. But once you get farther back to south, there's some higher areas where that kind of 18-foot measurement was measured from.
So you're gonna take the majority of it on the Beacon side.
So the Beacon side is the high point of the building. So that's the 30 with the addition of the elevator tower, the bathroom, and the staircase on top of that. So that's why it's more of a description than it is just a single number, because it's kind of hard to capture.
So I understand, so 28 feet is the required.
Correct.
And they're saying some points it could go as high as 14 feet. Is that how I'm reading this on that little chart where it says required existing?
Yes. So it could be anywhere between, the building will be anywhere between 18 to 30 feet above grade once completed, with the addition of those other rooftop structures as well. So the bathroom building would be another 10 feet tall. The elevator
So it's
tower.
not included?
No.
And the elevator's not going to be in the front, like this one, because it's not in the picture?
Yeah, so if you look at attachment 6, it's set back farther from the front of the building. Then, so, the previous project, the elevator was featured as a feature at the front of the building. This one is set farther back.
And in this picture that was provided tonight, is that the emergency staircase that you see here? Is that?
Yes.
It goes from one building to the next? It's right on the side of the building?
Yes.
Okay.
So actually, on that same photo, you can sort of see the position of the proposed elevator tower.
The one on the right, I'm
Yeah.
assuming? More questions?
Has there been any opposition from any of the neighbors?
Yes, so we received one comment letter, and I do believe we have folks this evening who are also here to speak during public comment.
And anyone else? The public hearing was already open, so.
So I had one question on the vehicle too. It said, the owner of a vehicle for the property, are you talking, is that just for the housing, for the employee housing, or is that for the property?
So that would be a commercial auto at space. It would be for the
Right.
operation of the hotel, not for the employee.
Okay, so it's not for the resident?
No.
It's for so like for operations?
Correct.
Okay.
Two separate ones for each building? Or is that one
Yes,
for
so the
both?
existing project already included one
So this is
parking
separate.
space. This is a separate parking
Yes, yeah.
space.
And then if like a resident, say I moved into the house, I can apply for an additional residential sticker.
You wouldn't be able to get one if you didn't live there, if you lived there less than 9 months out of the year, because they wouldn't qualify for the standard vehicle permit, because there's no off-street parking space available to
So
them.
you have two large-sized vehicles, one for each property?
Correct.
Autoet, not really.
Autoet.
This one's an autoet, the other one's a full size.
Full size, okay.
Yes.
Remember that? Okay.
And that would not be for taking guests back and forth?
I'll let the applicant clarify, but my understanding is no.
Okay.
So this is continued, so that means the public hearing's already open?
So we can go up?
Continue on, okay, so.
Yeah.
Now we're continuing on.
Can't hurt to open it up again.
Open it up again. If anyone would like to speak on this property, please come up and state your name and address.
My name is Tina Conover Hayden, and my address is 310 Metropole. We are the property that directly butts up against the back portion of the two properties. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. I urge denial of the variances for the proposed hotel at 305 Beacon Street. The height variance, rooftop additions, and reduced rear setback at the south rear property line. The staff report recommends approval of the requested height variance primarily based on topographic circumstances and precedents from sloped sites. Those grounds no longer apply because the site conditions have fundamentally changed. The applicant leases both parcels from the same landowners. The hotels are separate buildings with separate applications because the landowners chose not to merge them. The parcels are legally separate and must be reviewed independently. The variances previously granted for 301 Beacon Street relied on the natural slope that existed on the parcel at the time of approval. The temporary shoring permit issued on May 1st, 2025 was titled and permitted for 301 Beacon Street, listing solely its address and legal description. However, the plans submitted by the applicant and approved by the city depicted shoring and grading work that extended onto the adjacent 305 Beacon Street parcel, reaching the back of the property and the southeast corner of the 305 lot. As a result, this work created one continuous flat building pad across both lots and a single 20-foot retaining wall along the south property line. Avalon Municipal Code Section 9-3.608, height building, defines building height as the vertical distance from the lot's natural surface to the highest point of the building. The natural slope and natural surface that previously existed have now been eliminated by the permitted grading. There is currently no slope across the 305 parcel, and without any remaining natural slope, the topographic basis for exceeding the 28-foot height limit no longer exists. The findings required for a variance cannot be made, and approval is not supported. So since the two hotels will be operated jointly, there is no need for additional rooftop amenities either. The approved 301 project already has a lovely 2,500 square foot rooftop deck with seating, 2 bathrooms, and a snack bar, sufficient for guests in both buildings if they're operated together. Rooftop additions on 305, seating, bathrooms, and a pool are redundant, add no public benefit, and only increase height and bulk. The height variance and rooftop additions should be denied. Rear yard access for the 305 is only from Metropole Avenue. The parcel is landlocked on the east with guest access through 301 Beacon. The rear yard must accommodate trash enclosures, employee stairs, parking, and egress behind 301. The approved 301 design uses a 14-foot rear setback, the minimum needed for safe maneuvering, compliant trash facilities, and efficient operations. A 10-foot setback would cause safety risk, tight turns, and operational conflicts. A consistent 14-foot rear setback ensures safety, efficiency, visual continuity, and fair treatment. Require the full 14-foot rear setback as approved for 301. I ask the Commission to deny the height variance, prohibit rooftop amenities on 305, and require compliance with district standards, the 28-foot height limit and 14-foot rear setback. Thank you for your attention and commitment to fair development in Avalon.
Thank you. State your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Tom Conover of 310 Metropole. Mine is going to be rather quick because my sister Tina pretty much made all the points that I'm going to be making. But the variances that have been asked for, going from 80% maximum permitted coverage to 92, and going from 140% floor size to lot size up to 166% from 140. I would like you to deny those. I would also like to deny the rooftop deck. I would also like you to deny the stairway leading up to the rooftop on the adjacent property at 301. And I would like you to deny the pool. That goes without saying. We really don't need a pool on top of that building. You have a patio next door. If you open up your packet, I'd like to make a couple of points. If you go to page 7, which is 165 in the whole packet, okay, and it tells us that the maximum permitted height of 28 feet, the building of the bulk of the both hotel and the rooftop accessory structures, the height building stage shall mean the vertical distance from the lot's natural surface and the highest point of the building. As my sister mentioned, there's been grading that's been taking place over there on 301 and 305, and so that's now flat. That natural grade does not exist anymore, and so I believe that we should be taking the numbers from that level. For elevation control, natural surfaces are presumed to be the steep grade that exists along the rear of the lot to the street surface of Beacon. And once again, that is no longer there. As a matter of fact, when they were excavating back there, they happened to run across a concrete slab. So the concrete slab was underneath all the dirt that was on top. So making it not necessarily a natural grade, but something that was added to be a natural barrier for up the hill. Okay, we'll go to page 8, number 166. As stated, I don't believe that there's need for 2 sun decks, one having a pool on it. You already have a sufficient one over on the 301 property. There was a little bit of confusion when I was going through the original paperwork, because it was saying that the project is going to consist of a 3,088 square foot building, okay? But if you, on page 8 or 166 in the packet, the project would consist of a 4,016 square foot, 2-story building that includes a 65-foot service elevator and rooftop access and a square foot rooftop bathroom. If we don't allow the project to go over the 140% floor to lot ratio, that is going to give us our more than 14-foot setback on the back, because there is no setback on the front or the sides, and it will also free up, it'll get us closer to that 140% of building to, or floor to lot size. And that's about it. So please, I request that you deny the variance request for height, for going over size, and for the pool and sun deck. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Flynn, 415 Alta Vista, Avalon. I am the proponent for the project. There's a couple things that were just brought up that I just wanted to clarify. In the back of the lot, there is an elevation to that lot that's an additional 3 feet higher than the front. And when you measure the height, even if you went from that, the only thing that the variances applies to would be the bathroom and the elevator. And the only reason why we have the elevator at the height that it does, because the door that opens the elevator, which has to be gurney ready and be able to handle it, some sort of a trauma type of situation, you have another 3 feet above that requires the pulley for the elevator. So I've tried to get those as low as I can, but physically it is what it is. The bathroom just has a roof over the top of it. We could go to probably a flat roof, but I don't think you're going to get the aesthetics that go along with the rest of the building if you just build a box on the back. But those are the only two. The 26 feet, if you go up 3, is almost 29. It's about 29 and a half feet. And the elevator or the floor below is at 11, and to the ceiling you have your floor joists, and then it's 9'6" on the second floor. So we're as tight as we can be, and that is at the same elevation as the senior housing directly next door. So there's a yellow wall that's there. We're basically at that same height except for the bathroom and the elevator. The commonalities in this building between the two is there would be a shared lobby. It has 2 specifically distinct, not in touch foundations or the walls. They're built 2 totally separate buildings, but they are built so that it will appear like it looks like one building when it's done. You'll have the lobby shared. You'll have the secondary access in the back of the building shared. There are 3 elevators in the building in the 2 buildings, so they'll be shared. A commonality between anybody could go any way they wanted to go in any elevator. But other than that, the hotel rooms all function independently. We have the workforce housing that we went through the last time we went through on 301, and we've added one more for just in case we need it, and I think we probably will for housekeeping. So, and you can see, I can show you. We can. Can you hear me? Okay. This is that portion of 305. This is the other building next door to it. So it just steps like this. And I think it steps nicely. I think it's a good addition to the main building. And what it does is we still have the same 2-foot parapet wall that goes around the outside, and you have the glass up on top so it matches. The whole front would be a storefront glass and black metal window framing, and then we stay with the wood siding that is consistent with what's in the rest of the neighborhood. Other than that, then I'm here for questions.
So I do have one question, Mike. So there's no way getting around that is, the height has to be that because that's the only way you can put an elevator in that building?
Otherwise, you preclude handicapped people to get up to there.
No, but I mean, like, there's not, I mean, that's the height of the whole elevator and the shaft.
If you don't go to the roof, you don't need to go to the roof. If you don't get a rooftop deck, the elevator doesn't have to go that high.
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you.
If we don't permit a rooftop deck, the elevator does not have to go that high.
That's true, yes.
Okay. So that's the height with the rooftop deck?
Yes.
That's why, because the elevator shaft.
If you're up there and you're utilizing the deck, then what you would do is, if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to go all the way down into the lobby or go up the stairs to the top. So we thought it was a better design to be able to have people go directly there, because they don't necessarily want to go to the top of 301 if they're coming to this for 305. And we're trying to give, the whole idea is, I mean, there's no secret here. People come to Avalon, they spend 1 or 2 days. And we'd like for people to stay longer. And when you do that, you have to entice them by giving them things to do. So having a pool on site is a big, big advantage, because it allows people to come for 2 or 3, 4 days and spend a little bit more time. So that was the interest behind doing that, and giving people other things to do. So,
Will the ladder or stairs between the buildings, will that be just for emergency, or they'll be free-flowing?
The amount of use that I think those stairs will get will probably be very minimal. It has to do with secondary access and having people have different ways of getting off the buildings. Obviously, if you have a fire going on, you can't go down the elevator, so you have to have a separate way to go. This gives both the rooftop up on top on 301 and 305 really 2 different ways to be able to get out of the building, so it's a safer design.
Right, but will it just be for emergencies, or will it be, okay.
Yeah, for emergency.
Oh, is it going to be like, with a locked door that has an alarm, or is it just free access?
You'll have a lock gate up on top, and you have a lock gate down below.
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So is it like I can't just go anytime I want and sneak in and out? Or is it, you open it up, fire alarm's going to go off, this is an emergency access only?
Exactly.
I don't want extra traffic here, just.
So there's no way off the building unless there's an elevator.
Yeah.
Regarding what he said about the 14-foot setback, so behind 301, there's a 14-foot setback.
Except for stairs, because we agreed that the building actually is set back in the front side 20 feet. But we have 8 feet of stairs in it, and then you've got your driveway inside of that.
Well, so that, I guess the 10-foot abate, or what's it called, easement, does that go all the way?
Yes.
To the
But
senior
not 14
living?
feet behind 305, it's only 10 feet.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The 14-foot that we discussed was for 301. It's at the end of the road. 305 is at the end of that driveway. So the only reason that would be used for anything is just for access of stairs or to park our car there. So it doesn't need to be as wide. We brought it down to 10 feet back there.
So that building will go further back than 301?
Goes all the way across the whole back.
Goes all the way across.
I have to build between the back of the building, basically we're putting in a corrugated steel deck and concrete. So it'll appear like a driveway that goes from one end to the other of the two properties.
Parking space will be maybe underneath, will it be? where
And
will
then
it-
the building that is in the bottom floor is underneath that, yes, helping to support it.
I might have missed it. Is there an emergency escape on the first level at all? I missed it.
I have a really hard time.
Is there an emergency or a fire escape on the first level of the hotel? Oh, but there's nothing in the back or anything? Okay.
Another exit? So there's not a
Just
second
one way
door?
in? Yeah.
And there's a door to outside.
She's asking if there's a second door in
Yeah,
case the
that's what
front.
I wanted to know.
I think she's asking, is there a second door? If, say, there's a fire in the front of the building, is there another way out of the building?
Any other questions?
The one other thing I just wanted to add, it's my intention, after reviewing insurances and looking at all this, everything that goes on with the parameters of the hotel, this is not a kid's pool. It's only for adults. So no one under the age of 18 would be allowed unless they're accompanied by a parent, and they can't be any less of age than 16. So if they're there with their parents and they're 16, that's fine. It's intended to be a quiet use, not to be, kids screaming and yelling Marco Polo afternoon. So, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak on the building?
Sure.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Tom Conover, 310. I did want to also bring up the point that with the project that's taking place at 301, a 40, how many room? 44 room hotel? So a 44-room hotel over at 301, we're now adding another 9 rooms plus a quarters for somebody to live. We haven't even seen what kind of congestion is going to be created by what's going over on 301 yet, and now we're approving another 9 units, okay? The property at 301 had an 8-unit apartment building on it, which they've now put a hotel, or they're proposing to put a hotel. The one at 305 is a single-family residence. We're not taking down a hotel and putting up a hotel. We're taking down a single-family resident and putting up another 9-room hotel, and we don't even know what the congestion and impact is going to be taking place by 301. Okay, so thank you.
One comment. I don't believe it's 44 rooms. I think we have less than that. I have to go back and look. It's been a while since I've looked at the actual room count. But there are 11 beds for workforce housing and employee housing within that number. And on this side, we have 9 hotel rooms with another employee house. So we have 12. So of the gross number that we're talking about, we have 12 people that are going to stay and working in the hotel there. I believe there's about 31 actual guest rooms for people to rent out in 301. The second thing is that, guys, there's an economy of scale here to be able to build this once and not 5 times. And when we looked at this, I talked to Kurt a number of years ago about his property and including it, and he wanted to wait, which was fine. And then after we got the other hotel approved, then wanted to go forward with this one. I think this is about as low of intensity as we possibly could use on that property to build a new piece of property or build a new building on it. It's only 2 stories with 9 hotel rooms. So I hope you consider that. This is as minimal as we can do, but what happens, we get in, we construct, and we're done. If you want to delay something for 2 more years and then do it again and do it again, it disrupts the hotel, it disrupts the neighborhood. It's just an ongoing construction site. That's not good either. So just consider that. Thank you.
I would like to just, if I could ask Kelly a question, just to clarify. We heard a number of different comments about the rear yard setback, and there's not a variance being requested or needed for the rear yard setback. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay.
The required rear setback for this zone is 3 feet. The applicant is proposing 10 feet to the building, and then the emergency access staircase would encroach into the setback area, but again, that is allowed by right per the municipal code, so no variance is required for that either.
And again, the pool on the rooftop pool in and of itself doesn't require a variance. It's the height aspect that's added to that requires the variance.
The variances for height are for the building and the accessory structures on the roof, not for the pool.
Would the pool require a second water permit?
So it is included as part
So that's
of
part
the
of-
water allocation as part of the phase 2 waitlist request.
Okay,
So yes,
it was all at one applicant, for the extra rooms and the,
correct.
Okay.
So yeah, Edison does take into account pools, jacuzzis, spas as part of water allocations. So that has been included in their calculations and is on the wait list. So they won't be able to do that as part of phase 1. It will be phase 2 once they get additional water allocated.
Are they allowed to do the construction after Edison approves the water for phase 2? Or they can already construct it and then they just can't use it in operation until Edison?
So the way that we worked this out for the previous project is, like, for instance, for the hotel rooms, it makes more sense to rough in your utilities and things of that nature as part of the initial construction, but they will not be able to hook things up and finish them for occupancy until they get the additional allocation. So I think, yes, we will have to have a discussion with the applicant. For this project, how much are they reasonably able to construct for the pool, for instance, until they have the phase 2 allocation? Because, yeah, we certainly do not want the city to be in a situation or the applicant to be in a situation where they're not, it's unclear what they're allowed to do and not do, and for the city to be in a position where something has to be enforced that's going to be difficult to enforce, right? Yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion? More motions?
So this building was unoccupied for 20 years? And then this is the
Same as
first
the other
time?
one.
Yeah, and then this is the first time that plans, okay.
It could very well be longer than that, but for sure, 20 years. We actually,
Same
staff
family.
had to look at that as part of the analysis.
Same
I've
family.
lived here 40 years and I've never seen anybody in either one of those
Brother and
buildings,
sister.
so.
But it might not be brother and sister, I'm not sure. But, yeah. Well, this is awkward.
Yes, it does seem pretty small. I'm not sure there's a lot of things that are going to happen to this property over time. It's only 2 stories high in the front, and it cuts through the back. To me, it seems like a pretty reasonable addition to the hotel, and it's kind of nice how it tapers down. And then when you look at this picture on the side view, you really don't even see the addition.
The impact.
Well,
Well, the impact as far as the building.
If it's at scale with the senior building, it's actually a pretty nice transition. And that actually looks better than what's there now. And it's a little more cohesive, with a little bit more with town. I think it's a good proposal. The pool,
What
to
about
me,
the
is not
housing?
an issue, really. It's just something a hotel.
Problem with the water?
No, I mean, that's up to Edison, and I don't know, they could always switch it to a saltwater pool.
Still fresh water.
Still water, yeah.
It's still fresh water to
Still
make a
fresh
saltwater
water,
pool.
salt water.
What's that?
It's still a fresh water.
It's still fresh water, they just use salt water to chlorinate the pool.
Right, but to me, that's an Edison call, and if they say you can have it, but not with a pool,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like we should say no to swimming pools at hotels. It seems like,
Swimming pool above, sorry, can I ask him a question? Above ground or into the building?
So it's within the roof of the boat.
Flat to the
Yes.
deck? Okay.
So if it's flat to the deck, then how much gap has been between that and the room above it then?
There's no room there then.
That's what I'm just curious, now you said that like that.
Can you speak?
Yeah, you can have them address that question.
I'm just.
No, you're exactly right. This is a 4 to 4.5 foot in elevation as far as water, and it's a prefab pool. It's a stainless steel pool, and then they side it with, looks like a regular swimming pool, but it's prefabricated and it sits on top of the structure that we build below. But it's 12 feet wide and then 40 feet long and 4.5 feet deep.
So it sits on top,
Sits on top of
So you
it sits on
climb-
top of the roof.
you climb into it, not
Exactly.
down into it.
No.
So you're having the roof and this is gonna be a step in, you're gonna walk up some. Okay.
Exactly. It'll be elevated on the roof 2 feet, and we build the deck up 2 feet.
Okay,
So
so
the
you're
pool
not
actually
like
sits on
having
top.
the top floor be 14-foot ceilings and
Right.
to dip down or whatever into it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Does anybody want to make a motion, or?
I'll try a motion. I'll make the motion to follow staff recommendation 1 through 3 and all the attachments as proposed to approve.
I'll second.
We have 3 yeses, 2 nos, and 1 abstain.
So the motion does not pass.
Well, do we have to, Scott, do we have to give a reason for an abstention if we don't have the grounds prior to the presentation? I'm not sure what the ground.
No, we don't have to give a reason for an abstention. So, if someone feels the need to abstain, that's fine.
Have a revision to the motion that maybe we can all pass?
Someone can make a.
Someone can make a new motion that maybe we could agree on? Is there something? Can I make a motion?
Absolutely.
I'd like to hear it.
I make a motion to pass all of this minus the swimming pool.
I agree with that.
Would you be seconding the motion then?
Second.
I make a motion to approve without the swimming pool, to take out the swimming pool. Everything else is fine.
Well, I don't know the applicant is, I mean, that you can just change it and that the applicant accepts that. I mean, I think that the applicant has to.
I would recommend asking the applicant if they would be amenable to the revision before you vote.
I have a question first. So if it goes, the vote the way it is right now, that means the motion doesn't pass. So does that mean that, like, he'd have to come back with some revisions again, or he can accept, or he accepts?
Well, right now, the motion did not pass. You already,
That's what I mean.
that's already been voted on.
Right. So,
But we can revote, right? We can do another motion.
Asking the applicant to reapply with new plans? Is that what I'm saying?
I don't know that we need to do that, but if he agrees.
Because your proposal, your suggested amendment is to simply the plans as submitted without the swimming pool.
That's my proposal, yes.
Because there's 3 variances: lot coverage, floor coverage, and height. None of them have to do with the swimming pool.
I think I would personally, I'm not in
So
agreement
I
with
can't,
height.
so I can't take it out?
You can make that proposal, but I think the height is the variance request, not in and of itself the swimming pool. So if there's still a rooftop deck there and you still have the height variance request because of the elevator and the restroom, I think that we're hearing there's a concern with the height variance more so than just the swimming pool. Is that right? So, I mean, you can.
I would basically be making a motion to approve except for that height variance, which would take out, basically, if I were to vote to
It would
approve.
take out the whole
I just
rooftop.
voted no right now, so.
So I just would note that even if the roof deck were not included, there would probably still be, and this would be something we'd probably have to figure out with the applicant, there would still be some level of height variance that's required for the elevator, because even if it's not coming to the roof anymore, there's still going to be some portion of the elevator tower that's going to stick up. We would have to figure out what that is.
I voted no, but I'm fine with the height variance.
Okay.
So if we're just talking about that, I would have voted yes. I just don't want the pool.
Well, the motion was the variance.
Don't want to approve the project with the pool.
I'm satisfied with the way I voted.
So my understanding is the motion that's on the table right now would be approval of the proposed project with the recommended findings and conditions, with the one request that the pool not be included as part of the project. So that all the requested variances would be granted, the conditional use permit, the site plan, and the coastal development
That would be
permit.
my motion, yes.
And that has been seconded.
I take back my second.
Okay, so there's a motion looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. I do recommend that you give the applicant
We
an
do need to
opportunity.
ask you if that would.
I'm not wild about it, but I'll agree to it, so.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, I'm not wild about eliminating the pool, but if that's what we have to do to proceed, that's what we have to do. So we still, the elevator tower that was referred to is a building that's 6 foot by 8 foot, and it's 6 foot sideways, so it's 6 foot from any kind of view shed under the stairs.
I don't have a problem with the height. I have a problem with the water.
Yeah, with water. Okay, okay. So no, I would agree to it.
So it sounds like the applicant's amenable. As a clarification for staff, would the roof deck generally, would this motion still allow the roof deck generally, just not the pool?
My only issue is the pool.
Okay.
I don't
That's
care.
what was my issue with the water and the pool.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Yes.
And just for the record, can we actually just clearly restate the motion?
I was just going to ask that, yes.
Yeah,
so we
thank
can-
you.
So I make a motion to approve all the staff recommendations as written on the staff report, with the one condition of removing the swimming pool in project. Is that okay?
That sounds good.
Someone second, you second?
I think it's already at the vote, right?
Yeah,
Or we-
so you should be able to vote on your
I just
monitor
want to make
now.
sure.
Oh, do we,
We're
it's a new
missing-
vote?
Yes, new vote. So we're missing, who are we missing? Oh, no, we got it.
Okay, Scott, so we have 1 no, 5 yeses.
So the motion passes.
Okay. Any other staff business?
No, so just as a general announcement, we'll be back with you guys in January with your next round of transient rental licenses. As I reported to council last night, we're very close to the 410 cap for that program that was sent by council, so probably February or March will probably be the last round of applications that you see until there's some availability that's freed up underneath the cap. So I'll have an update on how close we are specifically at the next meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Seth.
Meeting adjourned.
Oh, here's your glasses. Thank you.
you.
You saved the day again.
See you guys. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas first.
Merry Christmas. Just mine.